If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's completely free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can also make money from your podcasts with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Bam. Okay. I'm really upset that doesn't have like an end note. Okay, whatever. Who cares? Okay, off the rail episode, God knows what. I have no clue. 8, 9, 10, whatever. Okay, so what is today? Monday? Yeah.
Yep.
So by the time you guys hear this, you'll have already heard the release of my rant, my psychotic rant called Chapped Ass, I think is what we're calling it, right? Yeah, I personally have a chapped ass, not Jen. So we're going to get into this just like a little more because like I dwell on terrible things. I just dwell on it. I can't not dwell on it. So to continue with, if you listen to Chapped Ass, it pretty much is all about the fact that all I wanted was one day off, and not even a real day off. Okay, so go listen to Chapped Ass, and you'll figure out what my day off consists of, because it's not a freaking day off. It's not, people. Okay, I'm still working, but I had all these messages and everything, and I made a Facebook post, etc. And I had like people comment on there that like a bunch of hardos, like they don't know what a day off is. And I was just so done with it. Okay. Like other trainers being like, day off. I don't know what a day off is. Like, liar.
Yeah, people can never just let you have something.
No, never.
They can't just be like, oh yeah, like you definitely need a time to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you had a day off? How dare you?
Like that was the whole part of like my rant, because Jen didn't hear it yet. That's right. Jen didn't hear it yet.
I'm just coming into
She's
this.
going into this like fresh, and I'm still stewing about it. Well, I got even woken up today by something even worse, right? So I had the people telling me,
what happened yesterday?
yeah. So I had the people telling me that they don't know what a friggin' day off is. They're horse trainers or they're horse professionals, and they have no idea what a day off is, right? Bullshit. Because like every other week you're out running around doing whatever. But okay, so we left that one. Then I wake up this morning to a comment that says a business works when the customers need you, or something like that. Like I'm supposed to be at everyone's beck and call because I have a business, and just because a specific customer needed me at 1:00 in the morning and at 5:00 in the morning,
you're supposed to be up and ready to answer.
It's my duty, right? So what I have to say to her, and I wrote back to her this, is I guarantee you're the lady sitting at Walmart bitching because they close at 8:00, right? You're probably sitting outside Walmart.
Ultimate Karen.
Like, oh, I need to get in here. How dare you be closed? So that's like my thought on that is like, how freaking dare you, right? Like I'm not allowed to take time off to sleep. You want me to just be at your beck and call whenever? No, not going to happen. So amidst that mental breakdown, pretty much, that wasn't like a real mental breakdown. It was just like, because I hate to say that because somebody's going to get offended. Huh?
Your ass was chapped.
Yeah, my ass got chapped. I got mad, okay?
You're a chapped ass.
I had a chapped ass. I got cranky about this. Okay.
Chapstick.
Yeah. So I got so cranky about this. And then I wake up this morning to that, still a little bit cranky and bitter about it. I was getting over it because I had done my rant, and I was over it. And then I go to Walmart. Okay. So this is just my life. Like, what is going on? And this is not even horse related at this point, but you people, you're not going to believe my life unless I tell you. I go to Walmart. I do my shopping. I come out. I get in the truck, I'm minding my own business, and all of a sudden I look, and there's something on the hood of my vehicle, like something big, looks like an animal, and I'm like, what the hell is on the hood of my truck? I get out, I look, it's a freaking raccoon skin cap that somebody just decided they were going to put on, discarded on the top of my vehicle. So I instantly just start cracking up in a Walmart parking lot. I had 3 people were like pulling in. And one lady just thought this was the most funniest thing she'd ever seen. She's like, she unrolls her window and she's like, I watched your expression from the beginning. She's like, I saw when you saw it. I saw when you got out to look at it. I saw when you took pictures of it. And I saw when you flicked it off onto the ground. Because I didn't want to touch it. And I just don't know what's going on in the universe.
Maybe someone set it down to unload their groceries, and then they turned around and
flicked it off.
It's just gone.
Who's wearing a raccoon skin cap?
That is weird.
To Walmart in the middle of May.
That's the area for you. Yeah.
Like, who is
That's where we
doing
live.
this? Who even has one of these to discard?
Literally everyone in Springville probably has one.
Are we sure about this?
We're like a mix between like country and like trying to be a rap star. That's
I know.
Like Springville.
I've heard that.
We're either like super country, like backwoods, or we're gonna be like famous like SoundCloud rappers someday.
I love how Jen says "we're," like she's a part of the community, because she lives somewhere else. She doesn't live
now
here.
I do, but I grew up here.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
So that's literally what I dealt with. Like there was kids in high school who were like super country, like just looked filthy all the time. Like, oh, I just worked in a farm. Okay,
they
cool,
picked
bro.
potatoes before school, and
Right,
showed
right.
up.
And then the other kids who are like rapping down the hallways, like freestyling, thinking they're like all cool and ghetto. Yeah.
Oh my.
That's literally
Interesting. See, I don't say I love Springville because my customer base, right? They treat me really well here. But I'm not gonna say I'm a Springvillian. Because that's what I call you, Springvillians.
You don't want to be a Springvillian.
I'm not. So do you consider yourself a Springvillian?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I tell everyone, oh, I'm from East Aurora. Where all the rich people
Where all the
live.
rich people live, which is like 20 minutes that way.
Yeah.
No. So, yeah. I don't know. I didn't have it in me to be kind yesterday. I just didn't. Okay. And I got a chapped ass and I made a comment about it. And it was literally like trolls coming out. And I actually usually don't have that because I don't have very many like bad days that I am wanting to share on Facebook. Usually like we all have bad occurrences, but then it just like goes away. But this was just like far and away beyond just insane for me. And so it brings me to like a whole nother point. Like, why don't we, like other horse trainers, like what do you get out of being like nasty? Right? Like saying like I should feel bad because I want a day off and you're so great because you supposedly don't take one. You know what? Kiss it. Kiss my chapped ass. That's what I'm going to tell you. That's what I'm going to tell you because you're not going to tell me you don't get a day off. Everybody gets a day off.
Everybody. And they don't want to be bothered. Like I had my day off yesterday and I mean, mine was way different. I was at peace. I had a cheat day for my diet.
Right.
I was drinking wine all night. Like nobody bothered me, but
everybody bothered me.
I'm not a business owner.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people don't realize is when you work a 9-to-5 job, you go to work, you go home, and that's it.
Yeah.
When you own a business, people are constantly bothering you.
Yeah. But the thing that kills me about it is people acted online as if I wanted like a full day off from here. And like I said, if you go and listen to my mini rant episode, my little quickie episode, you'll learn that like on Sundays, I take care of all 40 horses here by myself. So my girls that work for me can have the day off, right? Yep. So some day off. Like, it's not a day off, people. So for all the trainers that are sitting out there and they're like, I got to work 7 days a week. So do I. But all I wanted was literally what happened to start the day was I got a text message at 5 o'clock in the morning for bell boot color. Like, what color bell boot looks good on my horse at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Oh my gosh.
Like, are we serious right now?
Are we doing this?
And then I have people in my comment section saying how to avoid this. Listen, you know how to avoid this? You need to have some common sense. Like, it's not my job to avoid you. It's your job to have common sense because they started the message with, sorry for such an early message.
Why can't it wait?
Exactly.
Why can't it wait till Monday? That's
Exactly.
not something that's so important that you have to text someone at 5 a.m. that could wake them up on their day off.
Who in their right mind is thinking about this at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Huh? They are up. Yeah, as Ian said in the last episode, or in the rant episode, they're up with the Lord. They woke up with the Lord. But, like, that ain't me. I'm not waking up with the Lord. People, I love the Lord, but I'm not waking up with him.
I'm sleeping in. It's Sunday.
Sunday, my one day. And everybody around here knows this, that Sunday is my day that I don't teach. So I should stop calling it a day off, because all it is a day I don't teach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It was just bogus, like completely bogus. And everybody laughs at me when I say bogus. Does no one say bogus anymore?
I feel like I say bogus sometimes.
Yeah, he like cracks up. Ian cracks up at me, right? He cracks up at me like as if I shouldn't be saying bogus. So honestly, with this episode, we have no direction. And these are the ones that always do so good. But I have to get some... I don't even know if I should tell the story because maybe it's gross and somebody's going to laugh at me. But this goes back to our story of... when our bras got hooked on the saddle and ripped off. So this is something that has just stuck with me.
Big boobs problems.
This has just stuck with me for like literally the last like 2 to 5 days. It just has not gotten out of my head, and I'm like so embarrassed about it. So for anybody that listens, they know Jen and I are both
on keto,
right? So Jen looks great, and me not so much.
You look great. You're going through like an awkward teenage phase.
It is. So my clothes are all too big, but the small clothes don't fit yet. So it's just like a horrible thing. And I'm running around giving lessons the other day, and I must not have noticed that my like bra is just getting a little bit too large for me, and the girls just came out. And I was like so embarrassed. Thank God. I mean, I had a shirt on, so it wasn't like anybody saw anything. I don't even know if the parents noticed. But I mean, now when they listen, they will. But this is just like mortifying, like absolutely mortifying.
Were you like running, or were you just like standing there?
Well, you know, like I had the kids on the rail, and they were trotting, and they were doing an exercise. And you know me, when I kind of get excited, like when you girls are doing something right, and I kind of like, I mean, I'm not running, but I'm kind of like trotting around with the horses, right? And as I'm trotting around, boom, they just kind of fell right out of the bottom of the bra. And I feel like I caught it. No one said anything. I mean, what's somebody going to say?
You're like, hey, your tits showing. Just so you know.
I mean, it wasn't like show. It wasn't like showing.
There was barbecue sauce on my titties.
Yeah. I just don't know why I have these problems. Like I feel like the whole universe is just out to get me. Like, what is going on? How does this, like, am I that dysfunctional? Is like what I feel like I need to know. Like, how does this stuff happen to me? Like, I'm trying to do good, people. I'm giving lessons to kids. And I can't win for losing.
I'm trying to be family friendly.
I'm trying to be family friendly. Yeah. We will never be family friendly. My lessons at this point aren't even family friendly. Boobs came flopping right out of the bra. Boom, gone. Dumped them right out.
Also an anatomy lesson.
Yeah, thank God they were like, no one said anything. I don't think the kids noticed. Thank God. I don't even know why I put it on the podcast today. I just felt like it was just something that I needed to say. I don't know why.
It happens.
I have no clue. I mean, I feel like it does.
Have you ever seen those people where they're fighting and their boobs just pop out? That's like all I can picture.
But who am I fighting with? Myself? Like, I wasn't fighting it.
Gravity.
Yeah, gravity. I'm getting old. Is this what happens when you get old? They just fall out of bras?
Oh my God, I hope not.
I mean, like, maybe it's because, like, I mean, they're big. So, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just that. But they, like, I don't know. So, we're getting a little too far off subject, I guess. I don't know. It was just so embarrassing. So I have no idea. That's just like, that's the only story I have to say today, is that they just fell right out of the bra.
My boobs just fell out.
He was given a lesson, kind of trotting with the kids, and boom, they came out. So going into that, well, after that is now today. I had yesterday off, which wasn't off, right? 70 some text messages and calls and stuff like that. And now I'm going into lessons again today, right? Because Monday it's like you start back working or whatever like that. So now today I have all my customers, and they're kind of like, "Oh, is it okay to text you?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's Monday." Right? So I just don't know how to set a boundary without making people feel uncomfortable. But when I did it nicely, right? Like I have said to them before, you know, I try not to deal with like random meaningless things on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So maybe don't text me at 5:00 in the morning. They don't listen. But then when I make like a firm stand.
Have you ever just like thought about just not responding on Sundays?
I mean, maybe that's just what I gotta do.
I would just not respond, and then eventually people are like, "Oh, well, she's not gonna text me back, so I might as well just wait."
Yeah,
like,
right.
She's
like
just straight up not
like
gonna
I've got to
answer me.
train them, like I'm training their horses, like I'm training all of you all at the same time. But now I've got like not all of them, because honestly, there's only like a few offenders. Like it's not all my customers. Obviously, 90% of them know not to do that, right?
Leave Dana alone.
Yeah, but it's like 10% of them don't know, aren't responding to that. So now those 10% have kind of like learned their lesson, and now I'm going to feel guilty about it, right? Because I feel bad for like making us think about it, but I can't feel bad for making us think about it, I guess.
You had a customer even come in on your day off yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. It's just such a, they tell me they forgot. You didn't forget.
You don't forget.
You've been here for 2.5 years and you didn't forget.
No.
Like, just the lying. Like, some people are just so bold. So I guess anybody listening to this, if you're a trainer or whatever, and you just got these bold customers, write in and tell me how you handle them, because they don't respond to me. They don't listen to me. They'll just be like, oh, okay. And then I'll put that out. And for like 3 days, they'll be like, oh, gosh, maybe I shouldn't text her. Or they'll be weird. And then on Sunday next week, I'll be up to 70 text messages before 3 o'clock all over again.
So is this a reoccurring thing for you, or was that an isolated case last
No,
Sunday?
it's always.
Oh
it's
my
always.
God.
And it was just like it was just like yesterday. I was just so tired of it because like I'm at your beck and call, right? Saturday is a day I work. We do a ton of lessons on Saturday.
Yeah,
so
busy
Saturday,
for you.
my first text message came in at 4:30 in the morning. And it was, do we have lessons today? Like, why? Yeah, I didn't put anything out that said we didn't. So that one was at 4:30 in the morning. Then I got another text at 5 o'clock in the morning from somebody else. Do we have lessons today? It's cold out. I don't know if I want to ride. Well, that's up to you. Why are you... And these people's lessons aren't until 11 o'clock in the afternoon. So why are you texting me at 5 o'clock in the morning about it? And then 5:30 in the morning, I got another one from another student that they were fighting. The two girls are friends, like two of my little lesson students, like they're 8 or 9, and they're friends, and they were fighting with each other. So they didn't want to do their group lesson together.
Oh
and this
God.
is something that you want me to handle at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30.
Not doing it, then they don't show up.
Yeah. Like and see, like this is something that I get the bigger you get a program and stuff, but how do you not entertain it? Right? Because if I'm rude and I say, I'm not dealing with this, figure it out for yourself, right? Then I have no idea. Like one student, they told me they couldn't come to their lesson on Friday, right? They couldn't come. They had to cancel. They asked if we could reschedule. I said, I have nothing for you to reschedule. I'm sorry. I have no time available to reschedule with you. Don't they turn around and just show up on Saturday with the kid and say, here, find somebody for her to ride?
No.
I had to say no.
No.
And then I look like the mean person. Like I'm told I'm mean because...
But you tell people, you're like, hey, no, I'm busy. I
Yeah.
don't have time. That was your allotted time. And since you missed it, you're going to have to wait until next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just the reality. That's how life works.
That's like my thought. And then I hear, well, we have to plan our day because if they can't come to horseback riding, we have to plan for them to be able to do something. What happened to kids just watching TV?
Yeah.
Or like what happened to kids going out and play? Right? Like why do you have to have a scheduled activity?
All these activities.
Yeah, like they have to have a scheduled activity in order to live. Like I'm telling you, it's just, this whole episode is just going to be a rant, right?
Just a rant.
Because I'm seeing it firsthand that I'm supposed to cater to every single person. And it's just not, it just can't happen. It just can't, like, there's not enough of me to go around to cater to everyone. And, like, you work in customer service, right?
Yep.
I'm not going to tell everybody what you do, but
yeah.
you work
We can divulge in what I do. I'm a server.
Yeah.
So I deal with a bunch of
Before people think you're a
bullshit.
stripper, but...
Yeah, I'm not a stripper. I do get a lot of singles, but I'm a server.
So now, what do you do? Like when people start
Oh my
their
God.
crap.
Well, okay. This is hard because I've been in environments when I can tell people to, hey, fuck off.
Yeah.
And I've been in this environment where the restaurant I work at now, I really can't do that because it's a higher end restaurant.
Well, because before this, you worked at a bar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I worked at a couple bars, and even the last bar I worked at, it was a biker bar. Like, it was a biker gang bar. So, like, people would try to, like, throw, like, bar stools at my head. Like,
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Like, I would cut people off.
Did you have
would-
like a pair of nunchucks to get after them?
Oh, I would have friends there that would, like, drag them outside and, like, beat the crap out of
like
them.
a bouncer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I've seen it all. I've seen all aspects of customer service. So, like, in cases, like, it's a read the room situation, right? So, like, in cases where I'm in this bar and someone's belligerent and, like, literally just, like, being crazy and, like, trying to throw a bar stool at me, like, yeah, I'm gonna get nasty and be like, hey, I'm not serving you. Like, you have to leave, right? But, like, at the restaurant I work at now, I mean, people don't really get belligerent, so it's not that bad. But I had this one lady, and I know this isn't horse related at all, but I was serving on a Saturday night and it was super, super busy. And I have a million of these stories, but this one just sticks out to me, like, in particular. And it was like, I want to say like November, December. So it was cold, right? And this lady, it was two women sitting at this table, and this lady was wearing like sandals.
Oh my God.
In cold weather. So like, whatever, fine. So I'm like clearing their dishes off their plate, like, or I'm clearing their dishes off their table, whatever. And like a fork fell. Well, yeah.
Oh my God, did it stick her foot?
So a fork fell, and like the blunt, not the like sharp end of the fork, like the blunt end of the fork, like just brushed her foot, right, and fell onto the ground. So I'm like, oh my God, like I'm so sorry, like I'm so sorry that happened. So I go and I pick the fork up. Continue.
Ew. Now, question: did you have to go like by her feet? Because that would freak me out.
I was in such a hurry. I didn't even think about it. I was like, just picked everything. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she like was like, oh, it's okay. And I'm like, okay, like I'll get this out of the way. I'll be right back with a dessert menu for you. So I go and I, put the food in the dish pit and I come back with the dessert menu. I'm like, oh, I have a dessert menu. And she's like, yeah, just so you know, like my foot's really injured and I'm probably going to need foot surgery and x-rays and I'm probably going to need to like call the police. So I need you to bring your manager over here.
Oh my God, from a fork?
Yes. And I was like...
She's like a Suey Sally.
In my head, I'm like, this fucking bitch. Like, in my head, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I know for a fact that fucking fork didn't hit you in the foot that hard. Your foot's not even red. Like, you're just trying to get a lawsuit.
See, and like, you know what would happen like with me? If that happened to me, I would have stepped on her foot. I would have been like, here, you're going to do this. And this is really, then I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah. No. So my manager, I tell my manager, I'm like, you're not going to believe this shit. Like this woman is trying to sue me and call the police and file a report because a fork touched her foot when it fell on the ground. Right. So my manager, like he knows. So he goes over. And he's like, he gets like right down and he's like staring at her foot and he's like talking to her and like holding her foot and like her foot's not even red. Like her foot's not even red.
He's
like
cradling a strange woman's foot in the middle of December. That's disgusting.
Cradling it. And then I see him point to the cameras and he's like, yeah, just so you know, like when you go and you file your lawsuit, everything's on camera. And the lady was just like, oh. Because she knows for a fact that if we have camera footage of this thing barely touching her foot,
yeah,
with no foot injury, and we took pictures of her foot so she couldn't go home and like bruise it more and like sue me,
slam it with a hammer,
right? Like, there's nothing like she can do. And realistically, how much damage can an eating utensil do to the top of a foot?
An eating utensil.
Where you're gonna say like, I need to go to the hospital. You don't. Like, unless you're literally made out of freaking like glass. You like, fuck you,
right? Did she even say ow when it hit her foot?
No.
See, that's what I would have been like. There was no ow. You're fine.
You didn't even say ow.
You're
like,
fine.
See, who does that though?
These are the same people texting me at 1 o'clock in the morning.
These are the Karens.
They are.
They're a special breed of Karens.
You know, I hate to call them Karens in a way though.
Mine are Karens.
I just hate it because I know some good Karens, and I feel like Karens are getting a bad rap from this.
Nope.
You don't know any?
Nope.
Oh my God.
Nope.
I know too.
I hear the word Karen and I cringe.
Really?
I cringe.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Karen.
I crack up at the meme that they all have the same haircut and all that kind of stuff.
They really do.
They really do.
I could pick out a Karen from a mile away.
But you know what's so funny is the two Karens I know don't have that haircut. And they're horse people. Yeah, they're horse people. They're good people.
I don't know. It would take a lot of convincing for me to like trust a Karen.
Really?
Like years.
I'm going to tell you, I had a Karen come to me one time. I was selling this horse. I swear to God, this is true. This is the most bizarre thing I think that's ever happened to me. As I was...
Other than the raccoon hat.
Other than the... Well, yeah, I've had so much bizarre stuff. A raccoon hat, everything else. So I'm selling this horse one time, and this lady walks in, and she was a Karen, but her name wasn't Karen.
She was like, Karen persona.
Yeah. And she wanted me to train a horse. She said, he's horrible. I can't get him to lunge. I can't do anything with him. He's just vicious and mean. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like I'm training this horse and stuff like that. And literally 3 minutes, he's lunging around me. He's sweet. He's nice. I thoroughly enjoyed this horse. So I bring him in to the aisle and she's like, oh, you did so good and all this stuff and stuff. And like, she's going on and I'm like, okay, thanks. And you could tell she was one that could get pissy real easy, right? So
no.
I'm treading lightly, right?
Yeah.
I'm just
walking on eggshells.
doing my job, walking on eggshells and all that kind of stuff. And she walks up to the front of the horse. Now, I have no idea how long she owned this horse. I don't remember, okay? But she walks up to the front of the horse, and I had moved his forelock to the side, like I was brushing his face. She grabs the horse, like a crazy woman, grabs the horse by the side of his cheeks and stares directly in the middle of the horse's head and says these words, and I literally almost died. She goes, "Oh my freaking God," as loud as she could. And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Look at his whirl pattern on his head." Like, so, like the little cowlick on their head. She goes, "Look at his whirl pattern. He's autistic." And I went, "What?" Like, I literally just yelled, "What?" as loud as I could. She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "That's the problem. That's the problem with him. He's autistic." I said, "He's autistic? Like, are we sure about this?" She goes, "Oh, I'm eating hair."
Are we sure we got the right one that's autistic?
She sucked it off.
You get too close to the mic for no reason.
I have to.
You
It
lick the mic.
It doesn't pick me up.
It does, Dana.
Oh my God. Okay. Now that I just ate a hair. But anyway, she says, "He's autistic." And I said, "Ma'am, I don't think that's true. Like, I don't think he's autistic. I don't think he's handicapped at all." And she's like, "He is? That's the problem, because I can train anything and he's autistic." And I'm like, okay, like, what? How do I argue, right?
Yeah, you can't. I mean,
well, this isn't where this freaking story ends. So I kind of argued with her for like 5 seconds, right? Because she was hell-bent that he was autistic.
Because you were just so like, what?
Right? So, but she was just so hell-bent that he's autistic. So I'm like, okay. So we put him in the stall. He was only with me for like 30 days, and she took him home, and she said she was really happy, and she wrote me a really good review and all this kind of stuff. Well, then literally like a few months down the line, she puts on Facebook that I don't accept that horses can be autistic. Like, it was like she was bashing me.
Stop.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
Can horses be autistic?
I have no idea. I'm a trainer.
We need to Google this.
I'm a trainer to some extent, but
I'm sure you've seen some horses where you've questioned their mental capacity.
like, they're not the brightest bulb in the
But
box.
this horse, I mean, he was trainable, right?
I had no problem with him. Like, I thought he was actually extremely smart. She showed him. She took him out. She had a good time with him, but she was hell-bent that this horse was autistic and that I didn't accept the fact that this horse was autistic, and she, like, bashed me all over. She did, like, so much crazy stuff on Facebook that I would not accept that the horse was autistic.
Wow.
And I wasn't, what is it? Sympathetic to
her autistic horse.
To her autistic horse.
Probably autistic at all.
I had no problems with the horse.
And also another thing, how can you just look at like a piece of fur
listen,
and be like, that's autism?
That's just
offensive.
I've been deemed to get every single oddball that has ever existed just walks into my facility. And some of those oddballs I adore. Trust me, I'm an oddball, okay? I'm eating hair off a mic.
Yeah.
My boobs are falling out in the middle of a lesson. We're weird, okay?
We're weird.
I am not your multi-million-dollar trainer that's going to walk around and be all put together. So, okay, I'm good with some oddities, all right? But this was just beyond,
like, psychotic.
It was just the strangest occurrence I've ever had in my whole
craziness.
life. He was autistic, apparently.
According to her.
I don't believe it. He was smart. I had him lunging in 5 minutes. He was under saddle within 30 days. He was a good guy.
There's no.
And according to Ian, there's no
there's no confirmation that a horse.
no confirmation.
Yeah, because
that a
how
horse
can you
be
even
autistic.
diagnose an autistic animal?
I have
Right?
no
Because
idea.
they don't talk.
I feel
Rodents can be autistic, I guess.
really.
Wow.
Maybe she thought he was a rat. I don't know.
He was a rat.
Maybe. I don't know. It was just the most
That
weirdest.
poor horse. I feel bad for that horse.
I mean, she takes good care of him. It's not that it's like, this is my thing, is like the whole situation. You could tell she was like a Karen, right? Like, you could just tell.
Yeah.
But when she left here, she like wrote me a beautiful review. She wrote me a letter. Like, maybe that's weird. I don't know.
That is kinda weird.
I enjoyed the fact that she wrote me a letter. I thought that was sweet. Like, she wrote me a whole letter on how thankful she was for me and all this kind of stuff. And then literally 3 months down the road, she must have woke up with a wild hair up her ass and decided that I wasn't sympathetic to the fact that her horse was autistic. I hadn't talked to her in those 3 months.
That's so bizarre.
She sent me a few updates that he was doing good, and I said, "Oh, great." and I'm happy that he's doing great. And that was it. And then all of a sudden I was just a bad guy out of nowhere.
How did people react on Facebook to her? Did they even say anything?
Some people were
I feel like that's self-sabotage.
no, some people were like, that's awful. How dare she? Like,
how dare she?
How dare she? She's awful. Trust me, I have had so many people that don't like me because of pure like lies, right? Like, I guess I'm forward. Okay, like I'm kind of blunt.
Yeah.
But that's what I would want somebody to be with me.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody, like I warn everybody before they come here. I'm fully honest. Like I'm 100% transparent. And I'm not going to tell you I'm the best. Like one time I had a guy that he wanted me to tell him I was the best. Did I never, I don't think I've ever told you this. Okay.
Wait, what?
So it was like, I felt like, I felt like I was being like coached, right? Like, he brought his horse. He wanted so now this is what happens when you're a broke ass horse trainer and you got to take whatever anybody's going to give you. Okay. I don't have to do this anymore, but I used to have to. And I had this guy call me and he said, would you be interested in training my horse? And you know, the horse is under saddle and this, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Like bring him. He goes, but I have one request. I said, what? He goes, I want you to do a trial with it.
A trial?
Like a trial ride to see if I get along with the horse.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, well, I'm poor and I need this money to train. Like, I'm going to do a good job training the horse, but like I needed the horse to come in, right? Like, because we're all trying to make money. I need a bill. I got bills, okay? So...
We got bills.
What is it? I pay my bills. My bills are paid, right?
My bills are paid.
So I had bills. So I brought this horse in and I'm like, okay, I'll do your trial, right? Like an audition in order to be able to ride this horse. He called it a trial. So he watches me ride and he's like, you did very well. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks. Like, it's awkward, but like you roll with it. Like,
yeah,
you get weirdos. And he goes, you're the best, right? And I like turned and looked at him and I'm like, well, I don't like to say that. Like, that's kind of rude. Like,
egotistical.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to look at you and be like, I'm the best.
I'm the best ever.
Yeah. It's like not going to happen. So he's like, well, I need you to tell me that you're the best. And I'm like, I'm the best for the job? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? He goes, I need to hear that you're the best or I can't leave my horse with you.
Oh, God.
And I was like, oh, okay, this is weird. Like, I just was like, this is really, really odd, right?
That is so odd.
And he was very, very strange. And, I mean, long story short, I took the horse because I was just like, I'm the best.
I'm the best.
But it was like one of the weirdest encounters of my life. And he's like, you can do it. Like, he was like really odd. Like, he put his hand on my knee. I was like riding the horse and he's like, you can do it. You're the best. You can, I know you are, and you've got to believe it, or you can't train this horse because you've got to know you're the best. And I'm like, okay. Like, I was like,
so weird.
I got bills. My bills need to be paid. I just said I was the best, and
my
off
bills
we
are
went.
Paid.
And you know what? He was honestly one of the happiest customers I've ever had.
What the heck?
He loved the horse. He loved what I did with it and all that kind of stuff.
What did you do with the horse? Was he like crazy? Was he like...
No, not at all. He was just like this like sweet... he was a Tennessee Walker. And the guy pretty much, I think, just wanted like a refresher on him. Like, he had ridden... He was like a trail horse.
Yeah. And
he said at times he could be kind of like spooky a little bit. And that's all I did. It was like a little pony for a big man too, which I thought was odd in itself. But he's like, oh, you know, I had a connection with this horse. I was like, okay, whatever. But I mean, I get it. I guess you could have a connection with him. He's like maybe like 14 too. And like the guy, he wasn't quite 6 foot, but like he's not like fat. He's like a skinny old. He was like older too, like an old guy.
That's kind of strange.
It was just really
like
odd.
Cowboyish.
I mean, maybe. I feel like he just wanted to make me a better person. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea because it wasn't like odd. Like, I was never like afraid or anything. It was just like the weirdest request I've ever had in my life.
Say you're the best.
Tell me. Say it. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm going to put it out here. No, I'm not. But
no, I'm not.
He's like, you got to believe it or you can't train this horse. You got to believe. And I'm like, oh.
It's like believing in Santa Claus.
Yeah. I gotta believe in myself. So I was like, okay, I'm the best. All right.
I believe in myself.
I can't be the only one that gets this weird shit. I just can't.
Know.
But he really was happy. He was happy as a clam.
You really were the best.
Still to this day. I mean, maybe he won't like me after this because I told him it was a weird encounter. But even to this day, I'll still get pictures of him like trail riding this horse and like camping with it and stuff like that.
That's
and
cute.
I mean, he like other than that, like he wasn't weird. It was just like his weird like mantra that I had to say that like I was the best.
Inspiring you.
It was just really
be the
odd.
best.
Like, do you get weirdos like that other than like somebody trying to sue you over a fork on their foot?
I mean, when it's bartending, it's more just like people trying to flirt with you.
Like
but,
hit on you? Now, do you
yeah.
think they actually like you or do you think they just wanted free drinks?
Well, I don't give people free drinks if they hit on me.
Oh, so they liked you.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know. That's how I met Matt. I was at the bar.
Yeah. You know, my aunt always said you can't meet a husband at the bar. You meet him at church, which I thought was kind of weird.
Yeah, my mom was kind of like that too, because she didn't like the fact that I was working at a dive bar, and she was like, "You better not."
What was Matt doing at a dive bar?
He has a drinking problem.
Does he?
I don't know.
think
He
so.
drinks. He used to drink. So he works past Springville, like 10, 15 minutes, and that bar was on his way home from work, so he would stop and have a drink before he'd go home.
And little did he know it would change his life forever.
Yep, little did he know. Well, when he first came in, he was super shy, and like the first 2 times he came in, he even talked to me, and then
He just like hid.
yeah. Kind
Aw.
of. Yeah, he's a very shy
Did
guy.
he go alone?
No, he went with his friends from work.
Okay, because I feel like there's nothing weirder than a guy that'll just walk into a bar all by themselves. And
Yeah, I don't think he doesn't really go to bars by himself ever. No, I don't think so. But he usually goes with some friends from work, and they'll have like a drink or two, and maybe some chicken wings, and then go home. But yeah, no, it took
now
him like
does he still do that?
he was at one point, and then I got on his ass, and I was like, "You can't do that anymore," because he was doing
You
it.
gotta come home.
Yeah, because he was doing it every night he used to carpool with one of his coworkers who is just a degenerative, honestly. Like,
shots fired.
he is. I mean, he's not going to listen to this because I don't even think he has Facebook, but like he's like 50 and like he does crack on the weekends, I guess.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
He dabbles in a little.
He dabbles in
little
some
drug
crack.
use.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Little rocks. You know, I was always mortified at like, how do you even find drugs? I mean, I guess I should be like happy, and maybe I sound so naive because like I have never been in a situation where anybody was just offering away free drugs.
Like free crack. Yeah.
Or like,
no.
yeah. Like, where does this happen? Like, how does
No.
this happen to you? How do you wake up one morning and you're just like, I want to try crack?
I think we're a little too like sheltered and privileged to
Probably.
to be exposed to that.
Probably.
But, yeah.
My mama was like, my mom terrified me for life, right? Like, she was like, you can't have alcohol till you're 21 because these bad things will happen. Like, she like made me like such a wimp in that
You have
aspect.
alcohol, your tits will fall out.
Your tits will fall out.
Yeah, no one told me if I had alcohol, my tits would fall out of my bra. No.
You kiss the boy, you're gonna get pregnant.
Yeah, it was stuff
Yeah,
like that.
that's crazy.
She would like freak me out. Like freak me out. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup till I was like, I think it was like 16.
Oh my god.
So I think I said that in one episode. We used to take colored pencils. Did I
Yeah.
tell you that?
Yeah, you
And
did
use them
say
on your
that.
eyeballs. I probably look like such a bunky
That's
ass.
probably bad for you.
Oh my god.
Looking back.
I'm gonna get like cancer of the eyeball.
Eyeball cancer.
Eyeball cancer. I don't know. Do you get cancer in your eyeballs? I have no idea.
You could probably get cancer literally anywhere.
Ugh, so terrible.
Anywhere. Nose cancer.
What is it? Fuck cancer, right?
Yeah, fuck hands.
Terrible. Terrible
We
disease.
swear a lot in this episode.
This episode is just a vast array of ramblings about. I started it out angry. I've received my weekend has literally consisted of receiving a coonskin cap.
Maybe that's good luck. Maybe that's
Raccoon.
like
Raccoon
an
skin.
omen.
An
Maybe
omen.
that's a good omen.
Ian,
or a
Google
bad
it.
omen.
What happens if you receive a raccoon skin cap? What does a raccoon skin cap
It's
mean?
Like something like where like someone's following you or something.
Am
Maybe
I
you have a
being
stalker.
tailed?
Yeah.
I hope I have a stalk. So I get stalkers a lot.
You
I've
get
had stalkers. Yeah, I have. It's very. Does it have anything on there?
No.
I'm not being tailed. Maybe it was like a sex trafficking thing.
Oh my god.
They were marking me.
Oh my god, I hope not.
I hope no one tries to pick me up. Boobs fall right out of the bra.
Who's gonna just come out?
Maybe they saw my lesson and they
Yeah.
decided they wanted me. No, I don't know. It's just an odd week, people. And I like I said, I don't know where this episode is going. I don't know. But it's just pretty much our ramblings about whatever. What are we on time here?
40 minutes.
Oh, we did good.
Yeah,
We're
we did
doing
good.
good. Yeah, it's just odd. But yeah, so other than that, that is I think that's going to be our episode today. We're a little bit short, but that's okay.
fine.
We were fun-filled and fully charged and
Rearing to go.
fun-filled, fully charged. What is that? FFFC? 3 F's and a C, right? We had everything in this episode.
Boobs, crack.
Boobs, crack. Jen broke somebody's foot with a fork.
Yep.
We've almost been sued. We had all sorts of stuff. So, that is one thing I do have to add before we go is the one girl, remember the lesson student question from episode, I think 5 with Andrea.
Yeah.
Right? She wrote in and she was so happy that we talked about her. So if anybody else has any crazy stories, I'm not saying we're going to give you the correct advice. But
we'll give you advice.
You're asking for advice from somebody whose boobs literally fell out of their bra today. It was Friday. So is it good advice? I have no idea. I really don't know. But we'll give you something, right? Yeah. And we might we'll talk about it. Put your story on here and try to figure it out. And I think that's it for today, other than me eating a hair, which I don't know. I have no idea. We're a disaster. We're disastrous this week. Mess. I feel like it's going to be a rough week. So we will see everybody next Monday.
Yep.
Okay, guys. So I am so excited, like so excited and sad all at the same time because I promised you guys that Jen would be a part of the next interview and she is so upset that she didn't get to do this one because this one is amazingly cool. But I'm not even going to promise she's going to do the next one because poor Jen, she's got to work. Like, she's got a job. So she can't just do all these interviews for us. We have to kind of schedule them whenever. So sometimes you're going to just get me. Maybe sometimes you'll just get Jen for the interviews or anything like that. But anyway, so this one I am so excited for. This is an all-around cowgirl, like full-on, true to her roots, barrel racer, professional bronc rider. She rides bulls. She's got horse training going on. She is everywhere from Oregon to Texas to North Carolina. She is doing rodeos all over the place. She is just like our kind of girl. She does cattle work off of Frisian at times. She is just an awesome girl named Korie Ford. And to everyone that recommended her to me on our page, thank you so much because this interview was just fantastic. She is our kind of girl. She relates to us so well, and we appreciate her for her. I think she was on with us for like over a half hour. 20 minutes to a half hour, somewhere in there. She just like gave any information that we could ask for. And I did want to send, before we get into her interview, I did want to send a shout out to all the people that recommended her to me because she's the exact kind of people we want to bring on this show. Just completely interesting and just a really neat person. So if any of you listeners out there have somebody that they're like, oh my gosh, we really want to hear from them, we really want to hear about them and hear about their lives, feel free to message it in on the Instagram, the Twitter, the TikTok, or the Facebook page, because we are always open to trying to get whoever you guys want to hear from on. And sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. But when it works, oh my gosh, you guys have given us some really cool guests. Okay? So thank you guys. And here's the interview with Korie Ford. Thank you. Bye. Hi, Korie. This is Dana with Off the Rail Podcast. I was just finally giving you your call. Oh my gosh, what a day I've had here. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're totally fine.
I said, oh my gosh, thank goodness she's a horse person because she completely feels my pain today.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I'm like, oh my goodness, every 2 minutes I'm just all over the place. No, I am so excited to have you on today. And this honestly shouldn't be all that long, but some of my listeners, I've had like 2 or 3, they just adore you. And you were one of our most requested people, like, oh my gosh, please interview her. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, you're very well loved. So after I heard your name so many times in my comments, and like we only have a few episodes out, so I was like really shocked, that everybody just loved you. And I'm like, I have to check her out and see like who she is and what she does and all this fun stuff. And I have to tell you, I am just like amazed by you. You're like one true cowgirl, aren't you?
Well, thank you. It's very sweet.
Yes. I'm like, look at her. So I just found it so funny because like I think you are up north, right? But then next minute I'm like, oh, she's in Texas.
I travel a lot. I lived in Utah for a year and rodeoed up there, and I moved to Texas for a year before I moved to Utah, And so I ended up back in Texas again. So I was in Texas for a couple years total. And now I am back in my home state of North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you're like me. That's what I did. I ended up down in Texas, and I'm from New York, went to Texas, and I came back to New York.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because I was like, oh my gosh, how funny. We're both like in the Texas realm, but we're total opposites, because I had like Morgans, saddlebreds, and Arabians, and you're like rodeo, quarter horse, all that, Mustangs, all that fun stuff.
Well, I started out as riding English, so I used to compete in jumping and dressage whenever I was little.
Oh my gosh! So you are like full on horsewoman. I love it. That's like my favorite kind of people. So what drew you completely to like ranch life? Because I have I started in reining, which is, it's just like so funny. You and I are like we switched. I started in the reining world and the like ranch pleasure world, and I moved to the English world, saddle seat, hunt seat, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. So my family, they're not rodeo hearse. They've never rodeoed. None of them still do. Like I said, I started out in jumping and dressage and doing like the pony club stuff. But my dad took me to rodeo one time, and I was like, I want to ride a bull. That'd be so cool. And of course, my mom was like, no, you're never doing that. And so it kind of just never left my mind. And so whenever I turned 18, I went and I got on a bull.
Oh my gosh.
So I just kept riding them. I was getting my ass handed to me. It didn't really go well for me, but you got to be very persistent, because, you know, you're not going to be born overnight at being just automatically good at it. So I just kept on with it. And then I got a job offer down in Texas at a ranch down there. And, well, obviously there's more bull riding down there than there is in North Carolina. So I moved to Texas and just was riding bulls for a couple years. And then somebody told me that I should try bronc riding because I'm tall. I'm 5'10".
Oh my goodness. I'm the opposite. I'm short. I'm 5'2".
Yes, I'm very tall. I have like some photos of me with all the other bull riders, and I'm like a foot above them.
Oh my goodness.
It's ridiculous. And so they were like, well, with broncs, you know, you can get your feet forward more. And I'm like, I don't want to ride a bronc. I don't want to fall off at that height, at that speed and break pace. Well, next thing I know, a couple months later, I'm getting on my first bronc.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I literally have the picture up here of you on a bronc. My husband, who's also my producer, is like, look at this. And I'm like, oh my gosh. You're like, you are just like a wild woman. I love it. That is just awesome. So now, are you like the only girl?
No, I'm not the only girl. There's other girls out there. There's less bull riders than there are bronc rider in the women industry. Well, not the women industry, but you know what I meant by that.
Yeah.
But it's because women obviously are physically not built like men.
Yeah.
Our bone structure is smaller than men, and bulls, they are very, very strong. They're made of pure muscle.
Yeah.
And so women cannot physically ride the same caliber bulls as men can. Now, we can ride the lower end bulls. That's totally possible. I mean, there's women competing all the time with the lower end bulls at these local rodeos and everything, and they beat the guys. But I have discovered that with bronc riding, women can ride the same caliber broncs as men. I've been there, done that, went and won a bunch of rodeos already against just guys. I was the only girl entered.
Oh my goodness.
And it's totally possible, and it's very fun. You break a lot more bones in bronc riding, but it's worth it.
That's interesting. Like, that's something I never thought of, because like that's really true, because like I train horses, and everybody always likes to bring me like the problem children, like something that's just a wild man, because they're like, oh, Dana will just ride it and you'll be fine. And that's really makes more sense, because their horses are quicker moving. Yeah.
Yes,
oh
definitely.
My goodness, that's crazy.
I broke 9 bones in 2 months riding broncs.
Oh my gosh. Well, you also train too, because like
yes.
was like solidified the deal for me. And I'm like, I have to talk to this girl. Like, I became a true blue fan was when you posted something on your Facebook of all places, and it might be somewhere else and I'm not sure, but it said, if you have a horse with a bucking problem, send it to me. And this thing was just ripping around. And there was times where I'm like, she's literally off. She's off. And you never came off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like you make every single other person that I've ever watched break a horse of a bucking problem look like a fool almost, because you just are right there with him. And I'm like, holy cow. I'm like, I right there instantly, I was a fan. So now when you break bones like that, does that affect your training?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have been known to be training and riding Roughstock with casts on.
Oh my gosh.
So one time I broke my hand bronc riding, and I had a bull riding the very next day. So I was in a hurry. I didn't think I broke it. I have an issue with, I didn't break it. I'm fine.
Oh my gosh.
But in reality, I did. And so the next day we're on this way to the bull ride, and I'm like, y'all just want to stop at this urgent care because, this thing is swelling up quite a bit. And so they stopped, and sure enough, it's broke. And I was like, okay, I can't stay here long. I've got to go to a bull riding. Just throw a wrap around it. And they were like, are you serious? I'm like, I got to go. I can't miss this. I'm already entered. And so they did. They threw a wrap around it, and I was riding bulls with the cast.
Oh my gosh. So, I have a story like that. Not even to even think I'm a quarter of as tough as you are, but I got my arm completely shattered. I had a 2-year-old quarter horse I was training, and she just went bananas, and she just so happened the saddle wasn't on her all the way, and she just went to bucking out of nowhere. Like, she was a solid girl for the most part, and then just out of nowhere she just went to bucking, and she ended up catching me right in the elbow as I was trying to, rookie mistake, trying to snag the saddle. And she kicked me right in the elbow, shattered my arm. And that's what I did. I went to a horse show. I had an arm cast from my elbow or from my shoulder all the way to my hand. And that's what I did. I went and flipped it off and showed, and everybody was like, you're nuts.
Hey, all the best people are.
I mean, my thought process on it is especially, and I'm sure being in the rodeo world and just horse world in general, and you feel the same thing of we have to make money. If we don't work, we don't eat. We're not getting paid sick time, at least not for me. That's how it is.
Oh, exactly. And too, I just recently had an accident in West Texas. Whenever I was out there, I had a client horse that I took with me, and she was totally fine for the first few hours of the cow push, and then she just went berserk and went to bucking and flipped over and landed on top of me. So
oh my
arm
gosh,
was completely useless. And then I was coming back, and I still had all these clients booked for this month, and I'm like, no guys, I'm fine, I promise, you're fine, you come on in, I'm still gonna train your horses. Yes, I'm one arm, but it's okay.
Oh my gosh, yes, you are my kind of girl. Oh my gosh. No, I love it. Oh my. But so now, and I'm gonna probably have a million dumb questions for you, because I have no idea really about this world, and I'm just fascinated by the fact that a woman is doing this. I find that just so awesome, right? Like a bronc rider. Now, you said you compete against the men, and you just have at it. Have you experienced any throwback from that or anything like that from the men that you beat?
So most of the time they're actually extremely supportive. They get me so hyped up. They're like, yeah, you can ride this. They hoop and holler behind the chutes whenever I'm making my ride. They're usually super, super supportive. There has been a couple times where I have encountered sexist judges before.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I entered, and my name is, my name, Korie Ford. It's kind of like a dude's name. And I guess they didn't really know that I was a girl until I got there. And I had 2 nights of riding with the same judges, and the first night they scored me extremely low, the lowest of the pen, whenever my horse was one of the ranker ones, and the stock contractor even told me that my horse was one of the rankest ones. And then the second night they disqualified me because I didn't make my mark out, but we had 3 different videos that proved otherwise, that I made my mark out.
Oh my gosh.
So I've had a couple times where I have encountered it, but you just kind of got to keep on trucking. But most of the time they're super supportive. So
oh my gosh, that is just so awesome. That really is. So now your horse training, right? Where is that located? Is that in North Carolina?
Yes, my family ranch out here they have some boarders and that's all they do. And so I came back here so I could kind of take it over and start my training business up full time here. And the cost of keeping a horse here is also way cheaper than it is in Texas. In Texas, I was paying $18 per bale of hay.
Yep. Yeah, we had to end up thank God we were lucky enough to make our own and sell it because people were like, it was just crazy how much they wanted for a bale of hay.
It's insanely expensive, insanely. And whenever I do plan on buying a ranch within the next couple of years. And if it is going to be in Texas, then I'm definitely going to have my own hay fields because I can't afford that. I own 10 horses to myself.
Oh my goodness.
And they accumulate all the time. I always have something and then, I'll be like, well, I don't really need this one. So I'll sell it, but then I'll get 2 more after that.
Yeah, I know the exact feeling. That's how I am. I'm like, oh, I don't need another one. And then I'll look and I'll be like, oh, I could use that one here or there. This one's really good looking.
Oh yeah. Especially because I do a lot of, I seem tough-hearted because I gotta be that way in my line of work. But I'll see like a horse that, they're like, well, please take it. I can't take care of it. And I'm like, no, I really can't have any more horses. And I'll be like, fine, I'll take it.
And then he ends up at your home. So
then they're at my house.
Yeah. Do you have any that you'll like never get rid of? They're off limits. Do you have like one or two?
I do. I have one that I actually bought a couple years ago. He was off the track. He won some races, but the owner said that he had a bucking problem. He would always buck his jockeys off.
Oh my gosh.
And so I got this quarter horse gelding and his name is Little Mo Vodka. And I'm like, I really like that name.
That is really cute. Well. Oh my gosh.
And so I got him. I started retraining him. He does have he's cold backed. If you don't ride that horse for 3 days in a row, he's going to buck at the beginning, no matter what. And I went on this horse on his training and went out in the desert and was roping wild cows. I have herded wild horses with the BLM with him. I've done everything on this horse, and now I don't think I'll ever get rid of him.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome! Now I have heard also that you barrel race too, and you're pretty good at that. Yeah. Also, you're just like good at it all. So now, do you have a specific horse that you do that with, or are you one? Because I know with our show horses, some of them can do it all, and they're good at it all, but then some of them, they're good at kind of like one thing or another.
Right. Mo is actually like that. I do roping off of him. He's roped out of the box a few times. And I've also raced him on the track myself. And he also has started for the barrel pattern as well. So we're actually going to pursue that pretty hard this year. I did have another quarter horse mare that I raised, and I just sold her a few months ago, but she ran in the American qualifier and placed in that pretty well. And so then I was like, well, I'm moving. I'll go ahead and sell her here while she's still got the stats to prove what kind of horse she is. And I'm just all around. I just love my quarter horses. That's my main breed is quarter horses.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is awesome. I know. Cause like the one video I also saw, you were doing, tending to cattle on a Friesian. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this girl, you are just like, because that's kind of like what I do. I just do whatever with whatever I've got. I've got like an 18-hand saddlebred that I can drop down and ride him like a Western Pleasure quarter horse.
Yes, exactly. It's so fun.
It is. And like people will see me do it with him. Like if I take him to like get him out of the barn for like some open show, and I'll just like let his head hang and trot him around like with the best of the quarter horses. And people are like, what are you doing? Like this is just like, you're the most bizarre person I've ever seen. And I'm like, so when I see something odd, I'm like, see, I'm not the only one. I'm like, I'm not the only one that tries different things with different breeds.
No, it was so funny because whenever I went out to cow work, it's in West Texas, and I got this Friesian off the trailer, and they're like, what are you doing? And these are like, the rough and tough cowboys. They got their little stocky quarter horses. They're like, you can't be here with that thing. That's weird.
Right.
Like, watch me. I'm going to be dragging cows off of her. Just watch. And sure enough.
Off she that's why I said I was watching the video and I'm like, honestly, I'll be honest, I know nothing when it comes to that. We had some longhorns at our farm in Texas more as like ornaments, not as like, I wasn't herding them. I could lead them around with a halter, all that kind of stuff. So like I didn't have to do all that like work. And so like I watched her and I'm like, oh my gosh, this Frisian is really good. Like she's just doing it with the best of them. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Oh, I loved her so much. I actually tried to buy her from my client, but she raised her, so I understand why she didn't want to sell her.
Aw, that's awesome. And I know you don't need any of our help whatsoever for your training, because every month I see that you're booked. But if somebody wanted to, say, get their horse with you in training, you feel free to shout it out on here with if you want to put your phone number or your website or anything like that.
Oh yeah, I pre-book too, so people can always pre-book with me. You can go to my Facebook page. It's called Rockin' KF Performance Horses, and then just send a message on there, and there's an automated message that I'll send back with my pricing and stuff, so you can always flip through there.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. And if I get one with a bucking problem and I don't feel like it, I might call you and be like, here, because this girl can stay on anything, and I don't feel like dealing with this.
Absolutely, I sure will try.
Oh my goodness. So now, do you have any events lined up? Are you doing like meet and greets? Have you gotten any? I saw you did an interview not too long ago. Are people starting to kind of find you and be like, oh my gosh, we just love this girl like I do?
I do get some people that will come and they'll like look at some horses out for sale or drop some horses off for training and they know me. So that's pretty fun, but I don't really go out anywhere because I'm so busy.
Yeah.
It's like I'm either training at my barn all day or I am hauled off across the country working out there doing something. So I'll meet a lot of people along the road, like at rodeos and stuff. I have a lot of people come up and I carry my autograph sheets with me. So I'm always prepared for that. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's awesome. Do you know when your next rodeo is and where it is and maybe your schedule?
I'm so last minute. There could be a rodeo in Utah next weekend and I will be at it, but I don't book ahead of time until I know that they're going on, especially with how the world is right now. We don't know what's open and what's not.
Oh, yeah. So we probably, we're in New York. We're shut down, so we probably won't see you for a long time because I'm like, I got to like meet you and see you work in person because you are just fantastic. I don't know.
I did ride Bronx in Syracuse, New York in 2019. I won that rodeo. That was pretty fun. That's
awesome.
New York, that's a crowd. Man, they hype you up. It was so awesome. I've never been in a rodeo that was so alive than it was in New York.
we try. We really do. Because we don't get much of it up here. Like,
oh, yeah. It's crazy. It was awesome.
Yeah, down in Texas, we could go to a rodeo every weekend if we wanted. But up here, we get maybe one a year if we're lucky. And so it's like a big to-do.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. No, that is just so great. And you, like I said, you have impressed me. I heard your name more than just about anybody else's. We just did an interview with, I don't know, you may have seen him, Big John, the rescue Belgian on
I did,
TikTok.
yes, I've seen him.
We just did our interview with him 2 weeks ago. He was the only other name that was mentioned to me more than yours.
Nice.
Yeah, so you have quite the following. Everybody was like, you have to bring her on. So I'm so glad we did. And my co-host Jen, who's normally here, is going to be so mad at me because she wanted to talk to you so bad, but she had to work. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this poor girl. We have to get her on. I'm like, I'm a half hour late already. Just a disaster.
Honestly, I don't even look at my clock all the time. If I have an appointment set, I have to set an alarm. So.
Oh, good. I'm glad I'm not alone. I think it's just the horses. It
really is.
Yeah, it's like 1 minute you'll be doing something, and an hour will go by, and you won't even realize it.
Oh, exactly. I'll tell someone, I'll be like, oh, I'll call you in like an hour, and then I just don't.
Yeah, and then
I swear I'm not being rude. I'm not trying to do that.
Right? They never hear from you till like 5. I have the worst habit of like, I'll get a text, and then I'll answer it like 4 days later like it never ended. And people will be like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I have no idea.
Same. Okay, honestly, now I know I'm not alone.
Yes, no, not at all. Not even close.
No.
But it was so great talking to you. And if there's any projects or anything that you have in the works other than, I mean, you do plenty, trust me. So if you add more to this, I'll be shocked. But if you have anything else you'd like to shout out on here, feel free. You were fantastic. Oh my gosh.
Well, thank you so much. It was awesome talking to you, and thank you for having me on.
Oh, anytime. Oh my gosh, if you come to a rodeo up in New York or even Pennsylvania, because we're kind of close to like both areas, shoot us a message because we'd love to come and see you. I'll bring all these rowdy people for you.
Oh, absolutely. That'd be fantastic.
All right. Thank you so much. It was so great talking to you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye.